What's up, YouTube? I'm Brett from Rants. As always, guys, if y'all enjoy our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave that comment down below. Alright, guys, F9 falls to rotten rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, I'm not always the biggest fan of Rotten Tomatoes. I feel like Rotten Tomatoes is kind of like a mixed bag to a certain extent. It kind of gives you a brief glimpse of what is really going on without, or exactly how good the movie is, without really paying attention to how, box office sales in a lot of ways. A lot of people, they define a good movie by how many people have seen it. Star Wars could, I don't know, have two cats playing with yarn and with have Star Wars sounds going pew 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 pew, and it would still make $1 billion in theaters simply because of the name. Well, F9 kind of is that way too. Like it feels like fans will go see it, but that don't mean that they'll like it. Let's read a little bit about this. I used to be a huge Fast and Furious fan, but I mean, come on, they're on 9. The last few I kind of thought sucked in a lot of ways. There's only so many times you can say this is the last job. Like, I mean, come on. It's never the last job. It's always, they just keep adding on to it. And then if they're not doing another Fast and Furious, well, they're doing a spin-off of it with characters that really I don't really care that much about. Yeah, I get some of them's action stars, but inside the world of the Fast and Furious, they're not really that important to me. But let's go ahead and let's read this a little bit. It says, let me find it here. It says, after slowly receiving more mixed reviews, the critical approval rating for F9 The Fast Saga on Rotten Tomatoes falls to a rotten rating. It says, finally hitting theaters in the U.S. this past weekend after multiple COVID-19 related delays, the film certainly helped reignite the box office, bringing in an estimated $70 million, the highest grossing weekend opener since Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker in December 2019. Unfortunately, though, the dollar signs are ringing in producers' heads. The critics aren't singing the same level of praises. It says, with early reactions skewing very positively for the film, its earlier debut overseas saw a more mixed reception from critics. Despite initially opening as a fresh rating of 67% on Rotten Tomatoes, those who took to domestic cinemas over the weekend have shared their thoughts, and F9 now officially sits at a rotten rating of 59% on the review aggregate. And then it just goes on. It's like F9 sends the franchise hurtling further over the top than ever, but director Justin Lin's knack for preposterous set pieces keeps the action humming. And then it just goes on. It says, let me see if this says anything. The writing certainly seemed on the wall, beginning with Fate. What couldn't come close to the emotional and high-octane ride was James Wan's Furious 7. That being said, the 8th installment was still able to keep things from feeling just the right amount of ludicrous while delivering the soapy melodrama fans have come to expect from the franchise, making the lower reviews of F9 The Fast Saga a bit of a disappointment for some. Now look, there's no doubt, 59%. That's not bad. It's not bad necessarily. It means that most people still really like this film. A lot of people, when they look at early reviews, they're like, okay, hey, these early reviews, man, this must be really good, and we're getting all of this, all this positive news coming about how great something is. Those early reviewers are basically going to almost always give good reviews, because why would you give a bad review if you know that you might not get an early review after that if you give them a bad review? And that's kind of how a lot of these critics work. So that's why I say it's really kind of hard to determine whether or not something is truly bad or not. Because do you consider success by how much it makes at the box office? Do you consider success as being something that is, I don't know, story-wise? Does it continue the story? I mean, there's a lot of things. You could say the sequel trilogy for Star Wars was a success because it made a lot of money. You could say the Solo film was bad because it was the least grossing of all the films. You could say those things. But then, to be honest, when you actually put those in perspective, and you probably ask a lot of fans, now they might not be a big fan of Solo, but they'd probably rather watch that than the sequel trilogy. So, I mean, I'm just always one of those, when I hear these box office numbers, I think to myself, does that make me want to go see it? No. But, does a bad score on Rotten Tomatoes necessarily want me to go see it either? Or not want to go see it? And I would say, no, not necessarily. Now, if it's just an utter total bomb where it's like, you know, everybody seems to be just saying, this is terrible. This is bad all the way around. And I'm not talking about critics. I'm talking about just average people. That's usually what I listen to. I usually listen to like somebody that's seen it, and I'll be like, hey, was that, you know, worth paying all the money to go see? If they say it's worth the money, I'll give it a shot. If they say, nah, that's utter garbage, but yet it's making all this money at the box office and Rotten Tomatoes is giving it a high score, I'm probably still not going to go see it. Simply because I'm getting first-hand account. That's probably not that good. So, I mean, I don't know where this stands necessarily. I personally feel like a lot of people now are getting sick and tired of the same things over and over and over again. And it's like we've all been programmed to just accept these things. Oh, you like the first Fast and Furious movie? Well, you're going to love Fast and Furious 9. They're still doing it. My kid is 5 years old. My oldest son is 5 years old. They're going to be doing Fast and Furious movies when Vin Diesel is in a convalescent home. And he's still going to be the star of it. And they're still going to be saying, one last job. Why? Why would they not? I mean, you can say, well, it looks like, you know, the tread's wearing off the tires now. That F9 isn't necessarily doing quite as well. But you could say that probably about some of the other ones too. You could say, okay, how many times can you just keep pulling this out of a hat and expecting people to still follow along with it? Well, they made it 9 times. Why not 9 more times? Heck, The Simpsons got season 30. You know, so, you know, and no one anymore is like, oh man, The Simpsons is fresh. No, they still watch it though. Even though they've probably seen these episodes, even the newer ones, 1 million times over because they're just rehashing the same junk. So, I mean, you know, that's fans for you. Fans are, if they're fans of the original one, they'll usually just keep going and seeing it just for the name. Star Wars. Star Wars is the best example. And I'm just as bad about it too. I go and I see Star Wars movies and then I always leave and I'm always like, why did I watch this? Like, what possessed me knowing going in that it was going to be bad, but yet I still watch it. I still waste 2 hours of my life that I'll never get back, knowing full well going into it is probably going to suck. Name recognition with humans goes a very, very long ways. It makes us do stupid things. Now, I haven't seen F9, so I'm not saying it's good or bad or whatever. I'm just telling you my personal experience. I was over this by like 7. I really was. I felt like, okay, I don't even know how I even made it that far, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, you know, after they started even doing Tokyo Drift, which was what, 3 or 4, I forget even now the number of it. That felt like that was even too much at that point, to a certain extent. Like, they were really just, you know, this was a cash cow, and they were just trying to bring up anything they possibly could to keep this going, and that's the way it felt even back then. And by the time they got to like Fast and Furious 7, like it just, or Furious 7, whatever it was called, it felt like they're just continuing this because they know that fans of it will keep buying it. And as long as people keep going to see it, it doesn't matter what the ratings of it were. The ratings can suck because they'll be like, the ratings might be in the dumpster, but that's okay because fans still saw it. So until money talks, and until fans stop giving the money to it, the franchise is going to keep pumping these movies out. So I don't know. I'm going to go check out Fast and Furious, or F9, I guess I can say. I'm going to go check it out. I'm going to see if it's any good, give it another shot, give it a fair shot, and hey, maybe we'll do a review here on Rants or Us. But guys, as always, let me know what y'all think. Do you feel like maybe it's coming to an end? That maybe people are kind of catching on that it's really almost the same movie over and over again. And same plot, same everything, just different surroundings, maybe some different people that they add in, but it's really the same cheesy nonsense as what it was at the very beginning. I really thought the original Fast and Furious was actually a really good film. It was unique, it was different at the time. Now it just feels like one of many in its own franchise, to be honest with you. But guys, let me know what y'all think down below. Let me know if y'all loved it. Let me know if y'all liked it. Let me know if y'all hate it, if y'all seen it. Write a comment down below, guys. Let's talk about it. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Y'all take care.